Star Citizen Alpha 3.15 is the next major update from Cloud Imperium. It's roughly expected at the end of September or mid-October 2021. This sort of time disparity is because on paper it is the end of September or Q3 release for the year, but Cloud Imperium typically or historically have released it around CitizenCon, the giant Star Citizen official fanfest, which this year is on the 9th of October, a few days later. We know from experience that these builds often are not ready and are kept on the PT or the test universe until they are, so bear that in mind. Though I would very least expect an open build for everyone to try on the PTU for that CitizenCon date. That's my expectation, not a confirmation. Alpha 3.15 is packed with some extremely important features currently, and some of those are recently added or have been delayed from previous patches and moved here. It is likely, however, that some of these features that are currently planned for 3.15 could be delayed. Just to set expectations there, but let's take a look at what's currently planned for this patch. Medical gameplay. This is one of the big ticket items really for the patch. There are 2 new medical tools to use, an attachment for the multi-tool and a larger dedicated Cure Life one. They will use medical gel to heal wounds and treat injuries, with the dedicated one having better medical scanning and treatment options. We know the plan is to have a medical UI showing injuries and being able to adjust drug levels for better treatments, but I am unsure if it's going to be fully ready for 3.15 or not. You'll be able to use these and even medipens on NPCs and other players too here. There's also the possibility that we will have a down state introduced here, so rather than you immediately being killed when your health hits 0, you'll be knocked to the floor and then someone might be able to rescue you, or someone might be able to heal you. Your teammates can come along. That's awesome if your teammates can come and rescue you, but we're going to have to wait and see. Clinics and hospitals are a new set of locations opening up around the verse as well. You'll be able to respawn here, but you'll be buying medical equipment and receiving medical treatment here too. They have doctors and nurses as new NPC types that will help make the areas feel alive. New Babbage, Orison, and Grimhex are all getting their own dedicated facilities in this patch, with more coming later for the other landing zones. Clinics are opening up on many of the space stations in 3.15 as well, which I suspect will have a more limited selection of goods or facilities compared to hospitals. Grimhex technically has a clinic rather than a hospital, but I actually suspect that functionally it will be the same as a hospital, because it will have to host all the criminal players that want to live out of a space station or whatever. You know, criminals have got to refuel and eat and stuff too, yeah? Orison version 2. So this has been moved up in the schedule and looks like it's going to be ready for 3.15 as well. This expands out the landing zone, not just with its hospital, but also the Crusader showroom, it looks like, where you'll be able to buy all the Crusader ships. We might see other shops and areas open up as well. There's Cousin Crow's ship customization, new clothing stores, item stores. There's a silly whale costume. There's tours around Orison. We know that Cloud Imperium eventually want to open up the Crusader Security Outreach Office there to have Gibbs and Batista as new mission givers there from Crusader Security that will give you lawful missions. Exactly what the expansion to that area is for 3.15 though is a little bit more hazy. However, around all landing zones and stations, we're going to see vendor improvements. So from food stalls to shop attendants, the NPCs are going to be more interactive there with their environment in an attempt to bring it up to, or at least towards, the level of the bartender NPCs, hopefully with less bugs. There's also lots of ships planned for 3.15, the Redeemer reconcepted and flyable. It's a focused gunship, sort of medium multi-crew ship. However, it's possible that it might have modularity to be able to make it into a dropship in the future, and things like that. So they did talk about some of its modularity previously, saying, yeah, it's probably going to have some modularity. The Ares Ion and Inferno, these are 2 highly anticipated single-seater heavy fighters that are functionally a massive size 7 gun that flies around. The former has a laser cannon, and the latter, a ballistic Gatling gun. Brrr. They are the most exciting fighters that Star Citizen have made, in my opinion, at least for me. But I think they work best, at least in my head, when supported by other fighters or ships, as they really want to avoid dogfighting with light fighters that can just avoid their fire They're heavy fighters. They're not sort of like super mobile. They're a big, long gun. The recent combat changes dropped one of the Ion's shields and massively changed ballistic weapons to have very limited ammo. So I'm keenly awaiting seeing how these ships are going to play out in 3.15 now. The mighty Crusader A2 Hercules is here. This is the assault bomber combat version of the ship, and it has big bombs, Moabs, mother of all bombs. Bombs are another feature of 3.15, which allow the A2 and other ships to deploy them in atmosphere, then let gravity take over and deal with anyone unlucky enough to be underneath them. Something that I'm very much looking forward to here is infiltrate and defend missions. So these are planned using the recently added spawn closets. And they're missions that are going to have you doing all-out assaults, and sometimes you're going to be able to do like some of these missions stealthily, but they're going to be in underground facilities and bunkers. They're going to be assaults of structures, it seems, and it will include both lawful and unlawful variants, but I want to engage in that form of combat. The idea of using bombs to assault these sort of facilities and then take and hold them is absolutely fantastic. With infiltration in mind, they are adding an FPS scanner and radar function, so we know that this is going to be able to detect audio, so noise and vibration, and so when you're running around on the ground and you have your FPS encounters, this is going to allow you for much more in-depth gameplay for general missions and for stealth. You might be able to send out a ping to find someone or something, but then you might be lit up like a Christmas tree. But I do like the idea, if I can sort of like use this if I get lost or can't find an objective, or I'm trying to track someone down and I need to do it quickly, bam. With all of this, though, we don't know to what extent there's going to be any new medical missions or missions that make use of bombs, really. And we don't know exactly what those infiltrate and defend missions are going to entail. But I hope that we do get some take and hold structure missions, for sort of like hold them from waves of NPCs and players. That would be sweet. That might be something they do in the future, though, so as long as I get that at some point, I'm going to be happy. Other than the medical gameplay, there is another huge big ticket item here. Super important feature. Local and personal inventories are the start of a massive change to Star Citizen, and the importance of having the right ship, equipment, armor, or thing proximate to you when you need it. So if you want to change the loadout on your ship, you're going to have the items and the ship at the same location to be able to change them. Items are stored at locations, be they in a player's inventory or on a ship or at a hangar, and players will be able to move the items around if they are proximate to the items, to the thing they are moving them to. You won't be able to freely switch equipment unless you have it on you or it is nearby, and you can only carry a limited amount, but you can go grab it from your ship storage if you have it there. There is going to be an asset manager app at the same time that's being added to the Mobiglass. That's going to help you to keep track of all your gear, loot, ships and items, but you're going to have a lot of different things over a lot of different areas in the verse after a while. That's very, very likely, and keeping track of it and moving it around appropriately is going to be key to success. As you're only able to carry a limited amount of stuff and storage matters now, Cloud Imperium are deciding to add loot containers. So these are going to spawn throughout the game, be they crates, lockers or boxes, and they're going to contain dynamically populated randomized loot. Some may be tied to areas and missions and enemy types, but loot means prizes, and I'm liking the idea that there might be some cool stuff to find, or lots of potential money-making opportunities. Now, I was really hoping that they'd add the ability to sell some of this loot and weapons and gear and stuff like that to shops, rather than just cargo. Because I want to be able to sell FPS weapons. I want to be able to sell sort of like ship weapons and stuff like that back to shops. So maybe this will come at the same time or just a little bit later, but we do know they're working on buying and selling at sort of that sort of level at the moment. Will bodies be lootable like a container at this stage? We don't know yet. Maybe, but it might be a bit further out. Arena Commander is getting some updates with the Broken Moon map expansion being listed here, but not the Dying Star map, but we have actually seen updates to both of them in a recent Inside Star Citizen. These maps have been made a magnitude bigger, and they are entirely overhauled with new visuals and locations. So Not sure if Dying Star is getting its updates at the same time or not, and I would expect some other little functional tweaks to Arena Commander at the same time. It just sort of makes sense. There are other various potentials for this patch as well, so new events like the Nine Tails Lockdown or Xenothreat type things. That said, this cycle will take us through the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, which is the biggest sale and free fly event that Cloud Imperium do each year, typically at the end of November, and I would expect some cool stuff for that. Probably at Orison this year, but we'll have to wait and see. There are likely to be other ships or variants that get added that are currently hush-hush as well. We could see some other new missions tied to the gameplay and locations that are added, but with inventory changes, looting, medical gameplay, scanning updates, and the new gameplay area all together, that could actually make for some extremely good fun. We do know that Cloud Imperium are working on Jumptown version 2, which is going to be a more event-based go here to earn a lot of money. We don't know when that's dropping though, but the idea here is to funnel loads of players into an area and get them interacting with each other, so it doesn't have to be necessarily PvP, but it might be. It depends on how players react to each other in those areas, but cargo is something that is a focus for Cloud Imperium to try and get right. I mean, they are working on a lot of other stuff like the Dynamic Universe Sims, things like that, but it would be nice to get cargo in a good position in the shorter term. Could Arena Commander see new Vandal ship updates for the Scythe and Glaive that we've been waiting for a long time? What features might get pushed back? I think it's reasonable to expect to see some more balance and component updates following on from the changes in 3.14. Could we see the Gen 12 renderer deployed? Things like that. Oh, that would be so good. But what do you think? Are you excited for Alpha 3.15? What do you think might slip from the release? Anything that you're hoping to see added? Do you think that they're hoping for a CitizenCon release for that live build? What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below.
Mummy, I'm going to play Star Citizen when I get home. Well, little Timmy, you can't because hackers stole our house.
This is a story I hear only too often. It was just one day before these two were going to get NordVPN. Now they have to live on the streets. Don't let that be you. Get NordVPN in the links below. Every month we have a ship giveaway. For August, we are giving away a Mercury Star Runner, the fantastic multi-crew hauler data mission runner, allowing you to do a little bit of everything the Star Citizen has to offer. To be in for a chance of winning that, comment on any of my videos made during the month. More details in the links below. If you'd like to further support the channel, consider becoming a channel member. The join button down below, you'll get some exclusive videos and content each month, and it really does help us keep going. There is also the new thanks button under my videos for another way of throwing money at us. Both me and Zin appreciate all the support for the channel. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the verse.